welcome to the MVP Show. My intention is that you listen to the stories of these MVP guests and are inspired to become an MVP and bring value to the world through your skills. If you have not checked it out already, I do a YouTube series called How to Become an MVP. The link is in the show notes. With that, let's get on with the show. Welcome back to the Microsoft Innovation Podcast. Today we're heading to Japan, where our guest is doing something pretty remarkable. Please welcome Joshua, Director of Training at Voltage Learning. Joshua equips educators and developers with real-world strategies to harness Microsoft's AI and cloud tools, bring innovation and impact at the intersection of technology and learning. Welcome, Joshua.
Hey, thank you for having me here.
Good to have you on the podcast. Always love, getting to some background on you before we start. So food, family, and fun, what do they mean to you?
Great. Let's see. We can start with family and fun. So actually, I'm joining today from Hong Kong. So I'm on a little bit of a trip just here in Hong Kong, checking it out. It's my second time visiting. I really like the area and to travel and see new places. So here with my family too, joining live from a hotel room somewhere in Hong Kong.
Nice.
And I guess food goes along with that too. I love food from all over the place. So I love eating local food here. I love eating food in Japan. I love trying food from all over the world.
So you're quite unique in the MVP community in that you're, where did you originate from before going to Japan?
Before Japan, I was living in Las Vegas, but I've been living in Japan for about altogether almost 7 years now.
Wow. So you're American?
Yeah. I'm originally from the United States. I'll probably be in Japan for a very long time, so I'm almost pretty much claiming Japan as far as that goes. Yeah.
I love it. I love Japan. I've visited Tokyo and then out to Mount Fuji. And I've spent 1 year, I 9 times I went to Hong Kong for work in 1 year. So I know Hong Kong pretty well and I love Hong Kong as a region. Yeah.
Yeah, we're on Hong Kong Island side this time.
Nice. And so what has been the highlights in Hong Kong?
This time we've just been taking a little bit more slow. It's been stormy, so we've just been relaxing. But we've been able to go to a couple museums and do a little bit more of the indoor activity side of things this time.
Nice. Has it changed much? As in, like, I kind of was there for the transition of when the Chinese government, took over. And so, I think I was last there like 2015, 2016 maybe. And I know a lot has changed since then.
Yeah, I would say that a lot has probably changed. I've probably only experienced after the transition, so we would have to compare notes side by side. But I think that there's a lot less people who are speaking English now because the secondary language being taught in school, from what I understand, is now Mandarin rather than English.
Interesting.
That's one of the biggest differences.
Okay. Still plenty of great food outlets though, right?
The food's still delicious, so no complaints.
Very nice. What's top of mind for you from a tech perspective? What's been your focus this past year, and what's your focus kind of for the rest of the year?
I would say that, of course, AI. It kind of feels like an inevitable pitfall that we all end up talking about is going to be AI, but I'm also training on AI originally. So I have been training on AI for the majority of my training career. I just feel like that's where I'm getting most of the requests to begin with. So I do everything from end user experience in Copilot to citizen developer experiences in Copilot Studio, and then also just regular Azure AI developing too. So all across that spectrum, I usually end up there the most.
Yeah, which is really across Microsoft's, build, buy, and extend type story. You're in. Tell me particularly the work you've done in M365 Copilot. What has it been to date? And kind of what are the successes you've seen? What are the pitfalls? What are the cautionary tales that have come out from your work, particularly around M365 Copilot?
So I would say that at the very beginning, a lot of it was exploring the tool with early adopter type companies. And there was a lot of, oh, well, this feature doesn't work. Oh, well, it's still early technology. And now there has been some time for the dust to settle. And so some of these companies are just now even approaching Copilot. Not everyone was adopting it quite as early. But it's still interesting to see, like before, you couldn't reliably ask Copilot to do this in Excel. You knew it wouldn't give you the right results that you needed. Whereas now you can very proudly show people like, look, it's able to go and do this for you. And I think that difference is very interesting over time, teaching the same content very frequently, because the common pitfalls of things such as like Copilot's not very good at counting or numbers. Seeing those improve over time and being pleasantly surprised is probably one of the most fun parts about teaching and demos and showing people.
So outside of Excel, where do you see Copilot shining?
My favorite thing to do with Copilot is show people a demo in Whiteboard and Loop, because I feel
this is good, because I thought you were going to say Microsoft Forms, because that's a common one, because you can craft the form into reality in a heartbeat type thing. Looks amazing.
That is handy too, yeah.
Yeah, but tell me about Loop and what was the other one? Loop and
Whiteboard.
Whiteboard. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I think it's a really slept-on feature. I think that not enough people are realizing that you can get some ideas started in Whiteboard. So it gets you 6 sticky notes at a time based off of the prompt that you're giving. And the use case that I'm always showing companies is, well, first of all, not very many companies are using Whiteboard during meetings. So we usually have to start there. And hey, you would use a whiteboard in a regular planning session, like a physical whiteboard. But not everyone can be there in person to see your physical whiteboard, and those notes don't stay, right? They get erased. So first you set the stage and have everyone understand the value of the digital whiteboard that people from remote can also see and you can save and take notes on. And then you show them, well, have you ever been in a planning session and no one has any ideas at all, and it's just radio silence, and you're like, okay, who's going to go first? No one. So you can let Copilot go first, and you can get some ideas actually on the board. And then from there, humans are really good at taking like the ideas that are there and connecting it to something else, like a related idea, and saying, well, this reminded me of this. And I think it gets people really talking. So that's the one that I think is really fun. A lot of people don't realize that Whiteboard has a Copilot feature, and it's something that a lot of people enjoy using once they know about it.
I love it. Now tell me about Loop, because I'm a massive power user of Loop, but I don't really use it extensively for AI.
Yeah, so Loop, of course, you can take the whiteboard session that you had, and you can get Copilot can summarize that session into a Loop component for you, which is very fun. So you can take that and you can share it with other people, and you can comment on the meeting afterwards live. But also, if you have your own Loop page, you can generate that with Copilot. My favorite thing to do with that is you can get a template that is pretty robust. You don't have to do a lot of formatting at all. So Loop has already had templates for a while where you can just fill in the information to all the tables and stuff. But they might not have a template for every use case. And so being able to use Copilot to say, hey, I want a page that will help me with everything I need to open a new diner, right? And so you have like the preamble, like the concept of the diner, explaining all of the information. And then you have like a to-do list that Copilot creates for you. So without very much setup at all, you can just start the actual project with people, and you're not wasting the time on the formatting, because Copilot can help you out there.
It's so interesting you say that, because my experience with formatting, and let's say I just used Copilot the other day to format a Word document, and it couldn't, right? And I think about the outputs when I've used Copilot with PowerPoint, and I'm like, this, my expectation is here, and it is in 1980s, right? And what it's delivering me here, I would never put. And I've heard some people go, well, hey, it only will get you 80% there. You've got to do the last 20%. Where I feel a lot of people are wanting the last 20% done and not the first 80%, when it comes to putting polish on a PowerPoint. And what I found frustrating is that lack of being able to, for AI to really interact with formatting, being that one, it should, with access to the software, know exactly all the parameters, from nested, bulleting list, etc., like in legal documents. It should be brilliant at finding that structure and being able to apply it because, one, Microsoft owns the code base, two, they own Copilot, right? So you'd think there would be this massive, rich interplay, and it's not there. And I know it might come in time, but that's interesting that you say that within Loop, that formatting functionality is working well.
I think it does. I think what it probably is doing is it's playing off of existing templates, and it's probably taking what the user wants and finding a close match and then just editing that. That's my guess.
Which is brilliant. The other interesting thing I've found is that when we think about M365 Copilot, and particularly in its interaction with the productivity suite of products like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Loop, etc., is that each of them have quite different engineering teams supporting them from Microsoft's side. And we're talking about geographically dispersed as well all over the world. I had an MVP on the other day in a country in Eastern Europe whose that local Microsoft development center does all the Word features. And that's all they do. And so therefore you've got these kind of different level. And so I see automatically polarized. I can't get good formatting in anything because I didn't get it in one or two of the products, but that might not be the case.
Yeah. I think that's a thing too, is that for us as the end user, we see Copilot as one tool, and we only see it as the one tool that has been put into everything. But like you just mentioned, it's being developed by many different teams under the same branding. And so that's why it can lead to differences and unexpected consequences. I also have a very big love-hate relationship with PowerPoint, obviously. I think especially us type of people who are presenting or teaching with PowerPoint often, we kind of have high expectations already to begin with. So,
and things like animation, transition, morphing, and then what you can do with, there's PowerPoint MVPs, and like I'm thinking of a guy in Sydney, Australia as an MVP, and when you look at his PowerPoints, they are like watching a movie. They are just so, you would go, is this PowerPoint if you're just seeing the presentation layer? Because they are so epic. They're so engaging. They're so drawing you in, that's definitely not death by PowerPoint. And so they've obviously manipulated the tools that Microsoft have provided in the application to amazing effects. I don't know if you've seen, often if you do search on TikTok for PowerPoint or even shorts on Reels, etc.
I love watching PowerPoint shorts.
They're amazing, right? Like what people can do to bring the tool to life. And I'm like, hang on a second. You own the code base of this. You've got good examples out in the market of what people can do creativity from a creative perspective.
Yeah.
Train AI on that, Copilot on that. And man, what you could create is people that, created something phenomenal. Like even things like, slide masters. Most people don't know about them. No, most people I outsourced recently a slide master for my business. And I could tell straight away by what they returned, they didn't understand what slide masters do. They didn't understand the layering. They didn't understand that if you fix something in the master, you can't edit it. If you've done it wrong, you can't edit it when you want to add into it. Stuff like that, where I would think that that's an opportunity for Copilot to really become a rock star and lift everybody's presentation qualities to the next level,
I don't know if you noticed, they actually had to walk back some features too because they weren't as stable. So there has been some discussion about it. Some people did notice where the very early days of PowerPoint, you could be a little bit more specific, like do this for me or perform this action. And PowerPoint would have mixed results, but at least try. But I think what the development team ended up deciding, from what I understand, is that the mixed results wasn't really what they wanted. They wanted consistency. And so until they can get it right, they walked a few features back, and Copilot actually stopped doing as much as it could with action commands. So things like delete this slide it doesn't dare do that for you anymore.
Right. And that's another thing, why wouldn't they put into PowerPoint, just as to digress, a trash bin that if you had to delete the slide, you could still go back and recover it. And only if you did a full, package for production would it clean out those artifacts that weren't, needed. Anyhow, we digress. Tell me about, what do you know about Microsoft Graph and Copilot and that story? Yeah.
I know that nobody really talked about Graph at all until Copilot came along, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So now we have to actually explain what Graph is to people. Before I onced over the documentation, it wasn't super relevant to me, and so I was like, I'll never really have to talk about this with anybody anymore. And then Copilot comes along. It's like, okay, now I have to explain this to everybody.
How do you talk about it?
I think the easiest way is to just kind of, they have a lot of different graphics that kind of show this web of the different data points that you would have. The easiest example I usually draw on is if you're making a calendar event inside of Outlook, that it automatically syncs to your Teams, right? Well, there has to be a way for those two tools to communicate with each other and sync the data. And so what that is in the background is that's Microsoft Graph. And I usually start from there, kind of get the idea of the tools need to communicate. And then Copilot uses those same runways in order for it to go and find the data it needs for you as well. And because of that, it has the same access as you, the user. So Copilot doesn't magically get some sort of overreach. It's not going to help you with accessing data you're not supposed to access. Security team properly setting up permissions provided.
Yeah, exactly. It honors DLP permissions.
Yep.
And any other number of tooling. There's about 5 different security tools that Microsoft provide in the stack to make sure that you can protect access rights and what it can do. Totally agree. What's your, as we're drawing to an end here, but tell me, what's your, personally, how are you using the tools to make you more effective?
Let's see. How am I not using it? I feel like
I didn't say make you more productive on purpose. I want to be effective rather than productive.
Sure. Let's see. If I'm trying to be effective with my Copilot use, if I'm being very honest, I use the non-licensed version of Copilot quite a bit, actually. Just because I have...
So chat? We talking about chat?
Chat, just as is. Sometimes I've found that because I have so many other past chats for it to reference, and it has so much of a sampling of what type of responses I want, I find that it's pretty consistent in giving me exactly what I want. Whereas, and it's actually funny too, I have a separate account that is not my main account that I would rather use there, because I started using Copilot there at the very beginning, and I just copy paste type of work. I'd rather do it there, which is completely against everything I teach, to be honest. So it's a little bit of a guilty confession. But of course, if I need to do something that is based in context in my work organization, then I do go and I do it on that account. But a lot of the time, I just want to bring the context myself. I feel like sometimes that's even easier. And I like the type of replies that Copilot is giving me in that chat. I do a lot of...
Nice. And I just want to clarify, are you talking about M365 Copilot Chat, which is not licensed with $30 SKU, or are you talking about the, Windows Live version of Copilot, which is your consumer grade version of Copilot?
I'm actually talking about a separate, isolated, personal account Copilot that I like to use. So I'll keep everything there. Like, let's say I need to translate something. I'd rather just copy and paste the Japanese text into there and have it translated into English, or other way around too, and then just check it, the output, and make sure it's accurate. rather than doing it inside of the graph-based chat, I find that it gets a little bit overzealous sometimes and tries to find relevant files. Like, thank you, that's great, but it's not what I need right now. I just need the output. So I try and keep it simple and lightweight.
What's been your oh wow moments with AI and your I can't believe how awesome this is?
Recently, Copilot has been both in the 365 graph-based chat and everything as well, has been very happy to oblige in making CSV files or PDFs, which I think is very cool. So the output is just right there for you. So I said, make a list of every country by continent as a CSV file, and it was there instantly. Like, I didn't have to do anything, which was pretty cool to see. Not too long ago, it would have said, here's how you can do this, or here is a table. Paste this into Excel and do it yourself. Don't be lazy. But now it just kind of spits out the CSV file, which is pretty cool, or it'll make a PDF as well. So I think that the capability for it to start and provide files for you in the specified format and not really say, oh, well, you have to be inside of Excel and you have to have this license. Like, it feels more flexible in some areas than it used to be.
Outside of Copilot and the Microsoft offering, what other AI tools do you use?
I have been experimenting with a tool called Perchance. So Perchance is kind of more of a hobby AI tool for me. But you can create multiple characters, and then you can have them interact in a novel type of storytelling way. So what I'll do is I'll set up different characters, and I can define their attributes kind of the same way you would with system prompts and everything for creating an agent. And so I can create all these characters and put them onto a stage, and I give either my character's prompts or a narrator's prompts, and then I can see how the characters would react rather than having to create all of the lines myself. And I think it makes for a very engaging type of storytelling. So way more into the hobby territory of anything, but
brilliant. Yeah. I love that. So that's perchance.org, right?
I think it was .org, yeah.
Yeah. I just got an AI character generator.
Yeah.
I love it. Very, very cool.
One of the character templates they have is a hole punch for your desk office.
Yeah.
So you can have the AI reply to you as an office tool.
Wow. And I've just ran it on a tattoo design as an example, and very cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Anything else?
Anything else that I'm doing? I like a lot of the graphic design type of stuff too. So Designer, I've been playing around with that, and I've been using it to help make graphics and put things together for things like summits that we have. We have events coming up in October, and I wanted to make sure I had all the graphics together. So sometimes I help it, like, here's my idea, and I've got kind of a rough draft, but I want you to help polish this. And it does a surprisingly good job. So I've been using that to help create images for like the Tech Boost Summit that we're having in October. And it's been helpful.
Nice. Joshua, it's been so good talking to you. I've learned heaps. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's been good to talk to you.
Hey, thanks for listening. I'm your host, Business Application MVP Mark Smith, otherwise known as the NZ365 Guy. If you like the show and want to be a supporter, check out buymeacoffee.com/NZ365 Guy. Thanks again, and see you next time.